800-951-0592. Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour on this Monday. Gold is up 10 and change, 2035. Silver getting ready to just turn positive here, down 4 cents now, 25.70. The Dow's down 85. The Nasdaq and the S&P are lower as well. And of course, we've got three great options. Listen, gold and silver. Be diversified there. Call Joey. Believe me. Call. If nothing else, don't give your money to Uncle Sam, right? That's ridiculous. And by the way, unfortunately, that 401k thing, if you don't set that up right, you are going to pay way more. There's a lot of other better products out there. He's been educating me about it. I didn't know. Why would I know all the tax laws? I don't. But he does. He's going to help you there. And then our friends over at YRefi, they're not correlated to Wall Street. They don't care about PacWest Bank. They don't care about birth-death models or seasonally adjusted this or seasonally adjusted that. You can get up to 10.25% return. And you know what I love about this? The thing that really got me excited, because when I met with Lane, and Lane, he is the guy in charge over there at YRefi. We had this talk, and I told him, I said, listen, I don't really pitch for other people. That's just, I don't. I pitch for the radio station, obviously gold and silver. I don't do this other stuff. And then he started telling me why YRefi was different than others, and the story behind it. He was a debt trader by trade. One of the things that he did a lot of was student loans. And he was talking about the banks and how they deal with these 18, 19, 20-year-old kids and their parents or their grandparents, right? Because a lot of them, this is private student loan. You got to remember, the government will give you up to $5,000 for a year. That's it. Well, we know, hey, $5,000 isn't going to get it done, right? A semester, a year at ASU, especially if you got to live on campus, that's like $20,000. You want to go to Harvard? Yeah, that's like $75,000, right? It's not going to get it done. So a lot of these kids end up getting what they call these private student loans. And it's almost when you really think about it, how idiotic is it? We're going to give an 18-year-old with no job, no money, and we're going to get mom and dad to sign on the dotted line because they convinced everybody you got to go to college and this and that and the other. Next thing you know, they graduate and they've got $50,000 of debt or more. Well, they don't mess around. See, the government gives you all these programs, forbearance, and we'll let you extend it out. It's why people they're in their 50s and 60s still have their student loans because of this nonsense. The private market doesn't work that way. They're like, oh, you missed the payment? Oh, bam, here you go. Oh, you missed it. You know what? You're just in collection, right? You didn't land the big job right out of college you were hoping for. So you went back home. You got a minimum wage job while you're trying to land that other job. You couldn't make the payments. You're in collection. And now their lives ruined, their parents' lives, grandparents' lives are ruined. He goes, we actually go out and we look at all of these people that are in default. They call YRefi. They all call them. But YRefi is like, hey, listen, we don't, obviously some people, hey, you deserve to, you don't have the means to make payments. He goes, you'd be shocked how many of these, they're not kids anymore, of these adults now have that good, steady job. If somebody would just give them a reasonable rate, not only could they make a payment, they could have that student loan paid off in 8 years. And that's what YRefi does. And this is why they actually buy these people's, that the ones that qualify, the ones that they said, man, this is a good risk for everybody. They buy the debt out of collections. They start reporting to the credit agency that, hey, Joe Schmuckatelli, I know we thought he was a deadbeat. He's actually okay. He's making payments now. He can get Hey, this guy now, he could never buy a house before. A credit card, anyone that gave him a credit card is 30% interest, used car loans, 20% interest. And they start repairing it all. The co-signer, they bring families back together. It's a great program. I encourage all of you to check it out. InvestYRefi.com or call 888-Y-REFI-24, 888-Y-REFI-24. Now, remember, there's some caveats here. Got to have 50 grand. That's the minimum. But the good part is you can use an existing IRA and all of that other stuff. So check those guys out, especially when I come and tell you that, by the way, miraculously, the birth-death model created 378,000 fake jobs to make that jobless report, that report last week look really, really good. Just kind of wonder what the next one's going to bring, right, Jason?
Yeah, and just for a moment, going back to why refi and just these school loans, people need to understand that the banks want that monthly revenue. They want that payment. They don't risk anything. People don't understand how bad the banking system is. It's fractional reserve lending. Once someone comes walking through their doors and throws a deposit in, they can print 90% above that. They can take 10,000 and turn it into 90,000. They loan that to these students. Once the students have made enough interest payments to go past the full amount of the loan, the banks are just happy. They're just tap dancing because it's just gravy for them. You're paying on your school loans 20 years later. They don't care. They love that, right, Joe? They want you completely indebted to them for as long as possible. They don't want you paying the loans back, and they risk almost nothing. That's why when these banks falter and fall apart, I kind of enjoy watching them fall apart because, all they've done is feed off the depositors and these school loans and credit card loans, all this stuff. When they fail once in a while, it's like, well, yeah, they're a part of the system too. And they get eaten up just like anybody else, Joe. It's unfortunately going to end up being 6 banks and a central bank. That's just where we're going to end up with one really big corrupt system where the Fed gets to control how we get it, how we spend it, and how it goes anywhere. And, the days of what we consider freedoms, because our freedoms are far removed from 50 years ago or 100 years ago. Can you imagine, Joe, the kids in school, the class of 2025, the class of 2030, they're just what their idea of freedom is going to be so far removed from what we believe it is because they've just been taught differently. And people listen to this show, the few stragglers, right?
How much freedom do you have when you're paying your student loans in your 50s and 60s, right? That's not a lot of freedom. That's not freedom at all. Anyway, when we get back, I got an update on how is the consumer doing? A shocking report came out late Friday. It's why gold's been rallying towards the end of the day, Friday and into today. I'll tell you about it next. (800-951-0592). Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour here on this Monday. And I got to tell you, the jobs number had everybody fooled. And really, I shouldn't even say that. No one actually really believed it when it came out. And now we kind of understand why no one really believed it because, well, it really didn't happen. But on top of that, later in that same day, so this is Friday, the Federal Reserve, they produce this report every month, and it's consumer debt. And they have the 4 buckets, right? They got mortgage debt, which obviously, because there's no houses, because the vast majority of people now can't afford to move, that was down. Student loan debt, right? That's in there. Auto loan debt, that's in there. And the shocking part, Jason, both of those were way under expectations. But it was the last one, the credit card. And we've been talking about this credit card debts. And matter of fact, we've never had more credit card debt ever before than we do right now. it destroyed the number. It was 3 times higher than expectations. Jason, the American consumer added almost $30 billion of more credit card debt in a single month. And the problem was it wasn't to buy a home. It wasn't to buy a car. It wasn't to go to school. It was simply, dude, I'm just trying to pay my bills. This was really kind of unsettling to the markets, because obviously, right, this isn't the good sign that you want to see when you're talking about consumer debt. You much rather say, well, they bought a house, they bought a car, right? They're trying to, go to school. Right? Those are the debts that they like better. But this credit card debt, well, all 3 other categories is falling, was a really bad sign that a lot of the people out there they're it's getting really close, right? They're running out of rope here.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. The credit card debt is really bad. I mean, it's multi-year highs. It's the highest ever, like you said, and then the amount of added credit card debt is increasing. I don't know how they determine who should get credit cards or not. It seems like it's easier and easier by the day that people, companies, even stores, they just hand out these credit cards. But people are thinking, I believe, Joe, that and I think a lot of people have been through the situation where, hey, we'll use the credit cards for a while and we'll catch up. And I think what happens is when you get to situations like 2008 and what's happening today, some people to get caught up in just their own personal situation, don't understand they're a part of a larger situation, and that catching up might not be something that's going to happen this time. Inflation is raging, and catching up is hard when everything costs more. You throw something on a credit card and you're going to pay interest, which is more of your money going out than just the principal of what you bought. And then the things that you're going to buy as you're trying to I guess, catch up, if that's the idea, is going to cost more and more. You're sliding in the wrong direction. Inflation makes it very difficult to catch up, Joe. And so the bankruptcies and the foreclosures that are coming are, I think, next year in 2025 and 2026, we're going to see bank closures. I think I was looking at the bank closures again. Those are all these things are just going to keep going up, up, up. The amount of economic pressure and stress is just going to grind worse and worse and worse. It's not going to be a fast one, Joe. I keep saying it. This is going to something. This is multi-years. It's just going to keep on going. And you mentioned earlier, and I think the second segment, in 1929, the S&P went down and it didn't come back for 28 years. I think it was 1968 it went down and didn't come back for 25 years. I think we've got one of those situations happening now. It's whatever the high was, 2021, whatever year it was, Joe, we might not see it reach those highs again, break those highs for, I guess I could see them doing some monkey business. It can hit all highs temporarily, let's say this year because of monkey business. But when it starts to go down permanent, 10 years, 20 years, maybe longer, Joe, because when the Fed runs it, do they really care about the markets? They're gonna run the whole thing, right?
Yeah, and I'll just say this, not that I love Warren Buffett by any means, but there's nobody who knows these debt markets better than him, and he essentially told everybody that would listen, hey, the era that Warren Buffett came from, right, which is the debt money era, is over. And everybody better start adjusting to what the new realities are going to be. And you're not going to see the returns that we were grown accustomed to all of these years. And again, the Fed, unfortunately, has broken this fiat system. And it always is. It's always the problem. Why does all fiat money go to zero? Well, because they can't help it. They print too much. Anytime there's a problem, Jason, that's their only answer. And now think about this: de-dollarization. It's a real thing. The Fed having trouble shrinking their balance sheet is a real thing. Look, we're at the debt ceiling right now. We only got a few more weeks. We got like 3 weeks. They got to do something. They'll do. I think they're going to do something. They should do something. Heck, there's more and more people, though. I will say this: that are taking Donald Trump's line. Hey, let's just file bankruptcy. I mean, like, that's real talk.
Yep. We'll see about the inflation, Joe. The inflation's going to be, that's going to be the number one issue as to how this thing goes. We'll see. And we have the CPI on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, we're going to get another update. Why do I think it's going to be hotter than they want? We'll be back after the break. $800-951-0592. Joe and Jason here on this Monday. And I'll tell you this. I got a really good special for everybody today. It's going to be the first time, maybe I don't want to say the last time. I never thought it would go this far. But, $20 gold pieces have been just, you can't keep them in stock. People don't care. Everybody wants them. The premiums have gone sky high. You've been better off buying the 10s, right? Buying the half-ounce pieces. You get 2 of those for less. Until today, I've got 75 20s, and they're going to be the same, at least the same as 210. Tell you what, $5 less, $24.45, $24.45 on $20 gold. I've only got 75 of them, but finally, for the first time, I know this year and into last year, that you can buy a 20 for less than a 10 at 800-951-0592. And I know a lot of our big investors, they like the 1 ounce coins better. And simply because, Jason, it just takes up less room, right? I mean, hey, I need 40 of the others. I can only need 20 of these, and it fits better in my vault when I've got those 20. So today is the day. $24.45 on $20 gold pieces at 800-951-0592. I don't know what they are. They can be libs, they can be saints. It doesn't matter. They're all going to be pre-1933 U.S. minted gold. And Jason, this is a great opportunity because it kind of looks like, hey, the one data point that pointed to, hey, things are still okay. And probably the most important data, jobs is probably the most important data point. Let's just all agree that there was a lot of fluff in that latest jobs number, right? There was a lot of fluff in that latest jobs number, and you can't pay the bills with fluff.
Agreed, Joe. Agreed. I'm going to keep going back to it. I think people getting multiple jobs to fix the one they lost is going to keep the jobs number a little better than it should be, maybe for a little while longer, Joe. I don't think we see the big job loss numbers until all of the lesser jobs, so to speak, are filled. And then maybe that's what we've got here, Joe. Quality jobs are being squashed. The lower end jobs, remember just a year and a half, 2 years ago, all these places couldn't get hired. Couldn't get all the people they needed. I have a feeling they're getting the people they need, Joe. It's just they're filling those up a little slower than the good jobs that are being squashed right now. And watch out. I mean, people are earning less money, Joe. That's why is credit card at all-time high? Well, because, hey, this guy over here, he's still paying his bills, but he's doing it from $45,000 a year instead of $85,000 a year. And that means the credit cards get filled up, Joe. So it's right there in front of you, Joe.
Yeah, it's this thing, today, Burger King, right? One of those, lower end jobs. Hey, we're going to shut 400 stores, right? They're not shutting 4 stores. They're shutting 400 stores. Jenny Craig made it official, filed for bankruptcy and announced, we're not even going to try to refine it. We're just shutting it all down. So again, the stresses continue to appear. 800-951-0592. Jason and I were coming right back with the half empty cup.